Hey guys, it's Hybrid,
And this is White Sheep.
and yes,
We're back.
this is number.
Again.
This one means a lot to me because it's number 49.
More breaks in our season than Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I mean, come on now.
Yeah, but yeah, I mentioned it's number 49, and the reason it means a lot to me is because the next one's 50.
Which is big.
We have I don't even care. It's Doctor Doom and Lex Luthor, so that's gonna be really fun to do. And then counting this one, we have 6 more matchups left of the season. It's hilarious. We planned this season out. At least now, it'd be more than like a year ago.
Yes.
Because believe it or not, all of you watching this, we plan out our stuff very ahead of time,
Way in advance.
and then we just do delays on stuff,
We're like Kevin Feige. We have stuff planned through 2020, long term.
and then life slaps us.
Yes, we get super busy. And although we have, like I said, good intentions, our best intentions, we end up releasing about as often as the show Sherlock.
Yeah.
3 episodes, wait a year, 3 episodes. So, I mean, it is what it is. You've known this if you watched us from the beginning. Season 1 took a year and a half, pretty much to get.
We always
get
take
going.
breaks.
We do. But hopefully, we're trying to get on a much more regular schedule. I think we're making progress towards that.
Yeah.
This, at least, we're going to rattle off, I think, these 6 in a row.
Yeah, the last 6 of the season, we are going to be on time every Friday, or every Friday they should be out. But yeah, so this one's Winter Soldier versus Red Arrow. Originally, if you've been following like the previews we gave at the end of season 3, initially this was going to be Gamora versus Lobo. The reason why that got changed is because Lobo, the new Lobo that we were going to use, because we always use the most modern version of these characters, all the details on them weren't really out yet. Also, you know, we thought this one would be much more fun to do. At least I did. And everything. Mostly because a lot of people don't know about the New 52 Red Arrow. And I thought I would share that because one of the things they've done in New 52 is that, and by the way, the Red Arrow is from Earth 2. This is the Earth 2 continuity we're using here. Because in Prime Earth, which is like the mainstream DC universe at this time, Roy Harper never was Red Arrow. He was just Arsenal. And
straight up from the beginning.
And you'll learn. And if you didn't know, Red Arrow in Earth 2 is Connor Hawke. The only thing that's kind of different though is that he is not a biracial hero anymore. He is white. And the change I heard was actually a last-minute thing by Tom Taylor when he took over as writer of Earth 2. James Robinson was going to call him Roy McQueen. Kind of fuse Oliver Queen and Roy Harper. Yeah. But I guess Tom Taylor didn't like that, and he just called him Connor Hawke. So I don't know I don't really care. He's actually dead at this time. He died recently in the Earth 2 comics with Evil Superman. Evil Superman he died heroically though. He died holding off the Apocalyptian / Parademon army.
So whatever powers he has, you're gonna add zombie to it. So he's a zombie.
Well, sadly, he's not become a zombie yet, but I have a feeling that somehow Dr. Fate's gonna do some magic mumbo jumbo and bring him back, because he's been a pretty cool character, and you know, I feel like he added something to the team. But we'll talk about more of that when we get to it.
You're on a roll. So
You want me to start
I know
off?
I'm supposed to go first, so I think. But you've already kind of basically introduced him, so let's have you go ahead.
All right, so this is actually a joy for me because I love it when we have characters either for character bios, which are coming back in full swing by the way soon, either for character bios or comic verses. I love it when we have characters that aren't either that popular or we have the newer versions of them which may or may not be known. So this one is Connor Hawke. Like I said, his abilities: he's in peak human physical condition. Due to his bionic arm, he has superhuman strength and reflexes. He's an expert combatant, marksman, archer, and assassin. His equipment is obviously his bionic arm, his arrows, his bow, and gear. He's part of the World Army's kind of special forces, so to speak, elite forces. Really, the operatives a part of that are him, the Sandman gang, which is based on Sandman from comics, obviously. Atom Smasher, well, he's just called the Atom, but Atom Smasher basically, and Hawk Girl. Even though Hawk Girl deserved it, but you know, they're kind of like the top tier, like special group of the World Army, which is pretty cool. So his strength, he has peak human strength for a regular male, of his size and build, but due to his bionic arm, it's registered as unknown technically on our scale. A few of you have questioned our scale and how we do it. It's based off the Marvel database scale. but we use the comic book factual data, such as, you know, how much can this character lift and such things as that, and we apply it to that. So that's why, you know, there's a star at 3 because 3 is peak human, so we put a star there, and then 4 is superhuman, low range superhuman. So they never actually officially stated how strong his bionic arm is, but it's believed to be stronger than an ordinary human's arm. His speed is normal. He can run at normal human speeds. Nothing really special to talk about there. His intelligence, it's learned. As a person that works for the World Army, as one of their assassins, he has some education. Obviously, he's not stupid by any means. There's not much really more to say about that, because a lot of the interesting stuff about him is in his fighting and other stuff that we'll talk about later. So his fighting, he's a master of several forms of combat. That's just standard with World Army operatives, especially their elite group. You know, this is who they send to take out high profile threats. So think kind of like along the lines of like Army Rangers, Navy SEALs, MI6, stuff like that. So he's definitely a really adept fighter. Also, you know, he has his bow and arrow, and he's the greatest marksman in the Earth 2 world. So that's saying something, you know, when everyone else is using guns and you're still using bow and arrows, and you're still a big threat with that, there's a reason. Just like, you know, Green Arrow in the Prime Earth comics, just like Hawkeye in the Marvel comics. His durability is normal. He does have his World Army gear. From what we saw in Earth 2, obviously it's not all that great because he got murked pretty badly by Superman and also parademons. So I guess it only comes so far, but I think it looks pretty cool, his whole outfit in general. But his durability is 2, it's normal for a human, and his energy projection, he has none. So there's really nothing to talk about there. Arguably though, some of his arrows might have energy additions to it, but that's not really energy projection per se, and he was only really shown using regular arrows, so it's not really one of those things that it really applies all that much.
That's all. However, let's get to the character that I know you all are waiting to hear. You all are waiting to hear about the Winter Soldier, Bucky Barnes, of course, in the media a ton right now. I know Red Arrow's out there. He's, you know,
Not really. Not New 52 one.
the Arrow TV. Roy Harper. I guess he's technically not called Red Arrow yet.
They might call him Red Arrow.
They probably will eventually,
But
but
so, I don't know.
honestly, they'll probably just call him something just completely different. Just cause they'll probably name another character Red Arrow. It'll just be like confusing for everybody. But anyways, Winter Soldier. Back to that. He's, like I said, out in the media a ton. Everybody loved Captain America 2 apparently, and if you didn't, I hate you. Go die. Just kidding. That's
the line, white sheet, to the
yes.
end of the line.
We're together to the end of the line, or with Marvel to the end of the credits. Winter Soldier. His real name is James Buchanan Barnes. He was also born in New York with Captain America. His abilities: he's got peak human condition. He has peak human longevity. He's got superhuman strength in his bionic arm. He's got superhuman reflexes, durability. He can actually use his arm to make like an EMP or something like that. He's a master combatant with years of training. He's a spy, a master assassin, and an incredible marksman, all coming from his now nearly, 70 years as an assassin. His equipment, he's got a bionic arm, but then he's just got various weapons and gear. He's been shown using, the Russian SMG, the Scorpion, a lot. In the movie, he actually was using M16s and stuff like that. It stands to reason that he's going to use like any gun he can find, and he's used basically probably every gun on the planet.
He's been working the knife recently.
He has. He always has a knife on him at least, so there's that. So his strength, he's got 4 bars with that bionic arm. He's got 3 bars, which is kind of maximum human strength, but then 4 bars is a little bit above human with that bionic arm. It's actually unknown what his max is. However, it stands to reason that it's not something ridiculous like Superman strength, but he's definitely stronger than like skinny Steve Rogers. So his speed, he's enhanced with 3 bars. I guess that's just because of all the training, really. There's nothing particularly special about him other than he's actually been trained a ton. I know he's got the Infinity Formula now, and that has something to do with slowing his aging and increasing his longevity. His intelligence, 3 bars. He's learned. Mainly, the big thing here is the experience that he's gained, like I said, in his 70 years of assassinating. He actually looks pretty good for a 90-year-old man. fighting, he is actually, this is where I think he takes the cake. 6 bars, master. Like I said, a ton of that comes from experience, but a lot of it is in his training. He was trained extremely well as, Bucky before he actually became the Winter Soldier. I'm not really going to go into his origin because we do have that character bio, but also because I feel like more people know the origin of Winter Soldier than they do of Red Arrow.
Especially after the movie.
Yes, the movie did actually a pretty good job of explaining it. They changed a few things. Like, Bucky didn't know Cap from childhood. They met, in the army. But anyways, fighting, he's got 6 bars, he's master. And like I said, some of that comes from training as Bucky, but some of that comes from training as a Russian assassin during the Cold War. And anyways, he's picked up a lot of experience since then, and he's just generally an all-around badass. He knows a ton of martial arts, he can kick your ass. And he went toe-to-toe with Captain America. He's gone toe-to-toe with Captain America a couple times. Interestingly enough, I want to see if we see the Cosmic Cube actually helping him with his memories like it did in the comics. Durability, he's 3 bars, he's enhanced. Part of that's due to the longevity given to him by the Infinity Formula. But he's also got that bionic arm, which will add a little bit of durability to at least that section of his body. And he usually wears armor as the Winter Soldier. Energy, he's 3 bars, single type, which is that EMP, I think. Correct? If I'm not mistaken. I will say about the EMP, I'm going to play devil's advocate a little bit for Josh here. If Red Arrow was prepared for an EMP, it'll be fine. If he wasn't, then it won't. Because his EMP didn't work really well against Iron Man when Iron Man knew it was coming. But it still might be a factor in neutralizing some of Red Arrow's potentially. If he does have, although he's never been shown to use, or this version of Red Arrow has never been shown to use any sort of special arrows, that could help a lot. So, I'm going to let you chime in. Why do you think Red Arrow would win?
All right. Okay, I actually wrote this down in my mind. Yeah, CJ didn't write anything down. CJ, yeah. But Red Arrow, he's a real underdog, I'd say, in this fight because popularity-wise, Winter Soldier has it, especially after the movie. I think more people are familiar with the Winter Soldier and obviously his work, so to speak. But a little bit about Red Arrow. I think if we're talking about a ranged fight, I think Red Arrow definitely has it. That's his thing. He's a much more ranged fighter. I think when it comes to hand-to-hand combat, I would argue, not even argue, I would say most likely Winter Soldier would have the cake in that regard. But I do think Red Arrow does hold his own. He, just like Winter Soldier, he gets sent on missions all the time by his superiors to take out high-level threats without being seen, without being known. So I think they come from somewhat similar backgrounds when it comes to that matter as assassins.
That's why we're matching them up.
Exactly, that and the bionic arm. Now, speaking on the bionic arm, one thing I find interesting about both these characters that both of their bionic arms have muscular definitions to them, which I think is hilarious. Why she's pointing at his arms at the moment.
My massive biceps.
And yeah, so it's hard to say. It's hard to defend Red Arrow because I know it's a massive uphill. But I think if I want to leave anything to convince anyone that Red Arrow has the potential to win this fight, it is the range capabilities he has. If he can get away from Winter Soldier, he has a really high chance of, killing Winter Soldier in that capacity. Also, if they are being prepared for this fight, we have a rule in this show that if one character is able to prepare, the other character also, to be fair, should have the right to prepare also. So if Winter Soldier is preparing for Red Arrow, I see no reason why Red Arrow would not prepare for Winter Soldier. And I think even though Winter Soldier has a lot more history to him and, he has more allies he could probably go to for information, I think Red Arrow, just due to his resources, because here's the thing. At this moment, Winter Soldier does not have a lot of resources. He's underground. Nobody knows he's alive besides a very select few people, such as like Captain America. The Invaders know he's alive, obviously, because they're a team. But besides that, really nobody knows he's alive. So his resources and the people, the things he can access are very limited. Red Arrow, on the other hand, has the whole world army resources he can go to. And that has a lot of potential equipment and, things like that. They've dealt with superhumans, they dealt with, wonders, so to speak, before. So I definitely think Red Arrow should not be slept upon, even though I know most likely most people will sleep on him. That's really it I have to say, because I'll let White Sheep take it from here and basically, yeah.
Alright, look. Okay, I've got to say, both of these guys are master assassins. They're master spies. Honestly, if they were preparing for each other, I think that would effectively cancel each other out. I mean, let me start by saying this. The range is important, but Winter Soldier is also an expert marksman, and he's got automatic weapons. I'm not going to say that, automatic weapons beats arrows, because it's the comic book world. Somebody can be just as effective with a bow and arrow as they can with an AK-47. But let's say, and to address Josh's point about not really having a bunch of equipment, he's still going to have guns. Unfortunately, in America, it's really easy to get access to guns. So he's probably just going to be like, gratata, and just be spraying at Red Arrow. It's gonna be he's gonna the nature of automatic weapons is suppressive fire makes it really hard to concentrate and get a shot off. So we basically kind of force it to be an inside fight. At least that's what I would say. So I think, honestly, I think the preparation cancels out, because I think both would prepare to the point where I guess they'd both be, kind of fighting each other. And this isn't Winter Soldier's first time preparing for a threat like this. I mean, he's fought like numbers of opponents. So I think, like Josh was saying, I think while Red Arrow may be more equipped, Winter Soldier definitely has the experience edge. And if they can force it to be a close combat fight, I think Winter Soldier does take it, just because of the strength given him by his bionic arm, but also the durability he has now with the Infinity Formula. Anyways, honestly, this is probably the scrappiest fight we've ever had. Like, I'm not even going to lie to you. This one would be like Mortal Kombat, where somebody breaks a bone and you see the broken bone and stuff like that. It's like slow-mo cam and they're in, like, close. This would be tough. I honestly do think Winter Soldier edges it out in the end, just because decades of fighting experience, decades of hand-to-hand experience. The bionic arm helps a lot. Or his bionic arm, I guess, would help a lot in that situation. EMPs to take out whatever sort of tricks and gadgets he might pull out, and also the knife, whatever that would do. But honestly, like I said, this is scrappy. This is almost tough to call, because I can see this as being like I'm gonna say maybe 60% chance Winter Soldier wins, but that 40% means that, hey, maybe Red Arrow, catches his arm and manages to disable his bionic arm or something like that, and then he's fighting with one arm and stuff like that. That's so much could happen in a fight like this that it's almost too close to call, but I do give the edge to Winter Soldier primarily based on close quarters combat and general fighting experience.
Yeah, like, honestly, I've never said I'm disappointed in a publisher that we have a matchup for a character before, but I am disappointed in how much exposure Red Arrow has had, even in the Earth 2 comics, because of the fact that, they killed him so early on, so to speak, in his run. Like, he was in for like a good chunk of the Earth 2 comics. Oh, that's at 32. No. I was like, what the? Okay. So I've never actually been kind of upset with a publisher before on a decision with a character, but especially a character that's not like a major Trinity character or anything like that. But I am kind of upset that Red Arrow was killed when he was, because I was, it'd be better if we could get more stories, and they could still bring him back, potentially in Earth 2. Hopefully they will, because the character is really interesting, and I would love to learn more about the Earth 2 Connor Hawk. I hope, tweet Tom Taylor if you want to see more about Connor Hawk, because, example, I want to know what happened to his arm that made him have the bionic arm, things like that, because that's one of the downsides I think about. He's a great matchup for the Winter Soldier, but in regards to source material that we could work with, Winter Soldier takes the cake, and that really helps his argument more than Red Arrow.
Literally 80 years of source material on Bucky Barnes.
So, yeah, it's the thing that stinks about this. But, yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this matchup.
It's a close one. Like, if I could see any, like, honestly, I'm not even gonna lie to you, because some people have said, oh, you should, animate your CBVS. Some people have said, oh, you should do live action for your CBVS. This is one that I'd like to see live action. This is a fight that I would pay to watch. Like, not even joking.
I would like to see it too, because I feel like it'd be really interesting. But we're gonna wrap this up.
Yes, absolutely.
Now, I do want to say though, I will talk to CJ about maybe releasing number 50 sooner than Friday, and then 51 on Friday. Ooh. Just because it is number 50. It's a pretty big deal.
Special edition.
We've been doing this for a few years. I don't know any other comic book matchup. I know there's a lot of different channels, a lot of different videos that do matchups, but I don't know any of them that have had the history that we do.
Yes, we're like Bucky Barnes, 80 years, but more like just 3 years.
This is 50 matchups, and we still have tons planned out.
Like I said, till 2020.
You know, it means a lot to me personally because the first video I ever made on this channel before CJ came on, before anything else, before I ever thought the channel would get as big as it's gotten, the first video I ever made was Captain America versus Batman. It was a 3-part video. It was really crappy audio and video quality. I made it with like my laptop and like really bad mic on the laptop. It's probably still there. It's obviously it's the first video ever. It's buried really, really deep. I even had like a thing on there where it said like, this is my first video, so don't like be really mad at the quality. But yeah, so it's been a journey. It
has been a journey. I gotta say, like, honestly, like, even when I started, we were still, it was rough. We were still working on it. We were new to the YouTube game. And honestly, I'm still amazed, like, every day by the fan feedback and just how welcoming that everybody has been and how, like, positive. So 50 really means a lot to me as well, even though I joined up at, I think, number 3. I was not there for number 1 or 2.
You joined the number...
Was it number 4? I know it was
yes,
Thor
it was number
Captain
4.
Marvel.
It was number 4 because 1 was Batman, Captain America. 2 was Superman versus Supreme. Then when we did the HD remake, we retconned that to Superman versus Hyperion, and then the third one was Quicksilver, Flash, and the fourth one was Thor. By the way, when we do these, we say it every time, but we use some modern version. The characters,
the most modern,
which means for Marvel we use the past like 10 to 20 years at the most of history if needed for that character,
because Marvel has literally rewritten most characters in the last 10 to 20 years. They've clarified and changed their past.
Yes. And for DC, it's been enough in the New 52. We strictly use the New 52 now. I've noticed there's a problem with some of the videos where, especially ones with Superman and Superman related characters, where people will argue feats that Superman's done that have not been in the New 52. It's pre-Crisis Superman, it's Crisis era Superman, like Golden Age, something like that. That's not in this. I'm not saying Superman never did that. We're not saying that. We know he did, but not the New 52 incarnation of the character. So, and same thing with Batman. Everyone says Batman mastered every martial arts.
Yeah.
That's arguable, because it's practically impossible to do that in the first place. In the pre-New 52, not saying that he didn't do that, but in the New 52, he did not do that. They released the New 52 training thing for Batman. You know, when he left and when he trained, he was only actually training in regards to martial arts for about 2 years.
True.
There's no possible way he knew every single martial art by the time he came back to Gotham after 2 years of training.
And those are just examples. I mean, we'll of course we say that every time.
Examples. Those are the ones that come up the most.
We want to take this time to clear that up. But more feels in the 50th episode, the big anniversary for us.
Lex Luthor and Doctor Doom.
I love this because Doctor Doom is basically like the Marvel Comics version of Kim Jong-un.
Well, honestly,
do I have Doctor Doom?
We haven't talked about it yet.
God, okay, we're gonna rock paper scissors for that.
But yeah, honestly, I've wanted to do one with Doctor Doom for a long time. Actually, initially when we came up with it, I got so desperate to put Doctor Doom in here for number 50 because we need a pretty big one for number 50. I was so desperate. I looked for like just a really powerful DC character. I was reading the Justice League comic at the time. It was Despero. He appeared, and initially we were gonna have Doctor Doom versus Despero. Then I looked at Despero and I thought to myself, what am I thinking? And I changed it. Well, yeah, because honestly, and just we're about to wrap this up. I just want to say though, for the reason why we're choosing Lex Luthor for this, because you might be wondering why, is because initially for Doctor Doom, I thought we'd have to have like another magical-esque arcane villain. But then when I thought about it, you don't really have to, because who does Doctor Doom usually face? The Fantastic Four. They're all science. They're not magic.
Yeah.
So if Doctor Doom could face them, there's no reason why Doctor Doom wouldn't be qualified to face Lex Luthor.
Interesting logic there. I agree with it personally, because this is a matchup that I think is good both in name and in quality. But anyways, that about wraps it up here for us. As always, comment below with who you think would win. Personally, I'm pulling for Winter Soldier. I know you have Red Arrow.
Yes.
It would be close, like I said. Bones would be broken. People, like, honestly, the winner might, like, die after the fight of internal bleeding.
Out,
yeah. But anyways, internal and external bleeding. Anyways, like I said, that wraps it up for us here. See you next time with number 50, possibly sooner than next Friday. Anyways, any final words, Josh?
Yeah, next 2 character bios will be Kid Flash, New 52, and Gambit.
Yes. I will be handling Gambit, I think.
Yeah, it's been requested for a while.
Yes, I actually love Gambit, so this is perfect. Anyways, signing off. This is the White Sheep, aka CJ.
Yeah, this is Hybrid, dude.
And we will see you next time.